That's a lot of people. I think I recognize a couple of you, but most of you look a little too old to be high school students. It's a huge honor being up here today. You know, I spent a lot of time leading up to today thinking about how a proper graduation speech should be written as opposed to what should be said. I asked some of you guys for feedback, and the consensus was pretty much, make it funny. Graduation speeches have to be funny. But I didn't really want to do a graduation speech like other graduation speeches, so I kind of made it serious instead. I also asked Mr. McQueen how long it should be, to which he responded, about 5 minutes. I figured if I was going to be unconventional with my content, I could be unconventional with the length as well. It's about an hour and 13, so make yourselves comfortable. Don't get me wrong, I seriously considered taking all of your advice, but in the words of an old proverb, one who walks in another's tracks leaves no footprints. And I wanted to leave a footprint. It's not that following in the steps of other people is a bad thing, not at all, but sometimes we can do better. Maybe we can take bigger steps, or maybe we'll decide to walk in a different direction altogether. The point is, don't do things just because other people do them. When necessary, be unconventional. Throughout our 4 years at Aldershot High School, 6 for many of you, we've seen both ends of the spectrum. We have seen convention, and we've seen lack thereof. Now, we all know those teachers who do everything by the book, and apparently the book says, induce boredom and a strong urge to sleep. But we've also been taught by people who aren't afraid to do things a little bit differently. Those are the ones that we'll remember. One teacher who shall remain unnamed found a particularly successful way of dealing with distracting noises outside of the classroom. I'll never forget the day when several unsuspecting students making noise outside of the window were told, "Why don't you go play on the highway?" Very unconventional, and brutally effective. I would go so far as to say that the success rate was just about 100%. And just for the sake of clarity, I'd like to add that he said this in a friendly way. I wasn't actually under the impression that he was wishing death. In some ways, our very existence at Aldershot High School has been a little bit unconventional. There are so few of us here that pretty much everyone knows everyone else. I know I joked earlier, but I can probably name every single one of you out here today. For those of us going off to university or college, the contrast is going to be dramatic. Sometimes it may seem impossible to stray from the beaten track. How can you be unconventional, but still attain success? Actually, I would argue that the most successful people are such because they're not afraid to make a departure from what is normal. People who question the way things are done and find new, better ways of doing things, those are the people who leave a mark. Sometimes they act unconventionally as individuals, and sometimes they change convention for all of us. Bill Gates had a vision. To achieve that vision, he dropped out of Harvard, one of the most prestigious schools in the world. Most people wouldn't have the guts to make a decision like that, but Bill Gates had absolutely no intention of being like most people. He is now one of the wealthiest people in the world because he wasn't afraid to do what worked for him. Now, many of us may not have the business-oriented mindset that Gates had, but we can still learn from him by doing what works for us. even when that's not what other people are doing. It was a rainy Paris day when Travis Kalanick and Garrett Camp realized the potential that lay in the transport industry. They thought, why do we put up with the inconvenience of waiting for taxis? There must be a better way. So they thought up Uber. They thought about a problem in a way that nobody had before, and the world will never be the same as a result. Now, maybe you don't have $1 million idea. Maybe your idea isn't worth a single cent, but monetary gain is not the only measure of success. If you have an idea that will make your world, or anyone else's, a better place, you have not only an opportunity, but an obligation to bring that idea to life. So now, as our high school journey comes to an end, and we prepare to work until our impending deaths, a question presents itself. How much do you care? Humanity has accomplished a tremendous number of amazing things in the world, but in some areas we can do so much better. To push forward and to improve on our past, we need to embrace change. But that's where the question becomes apparent. Change is hard. Change itself is totally conventional. Things are always changing. But creating change, forcing change when it doesn't come naturally, that's a struggle. Society is like a river. The more people do something, the more that thing becomes the norm. Momentum builds, the current grows stronger. It becomes easier and easier to go with the flow, and harder to go against it, whether or not that flow is in a beneficial direction. And that's when people say, what's the point? What difference can I, as an individual, make? And in a way, they're right. But it's that kind of thinking that makes change so difficult. Because when everyone thinks that way, nobody does anything. You know, we have enough food in the world right now to completely eradicate world hunger. By making some admittedly huge changes to the way we do things, we could save 21,000 people every day from dying of starvation. But you know, that's not the way things are done now, and change is inconvenient. You can sit around and wait for someone else to feel empowered, or you can defy convention and make a difference yourself. In the words of Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world. So don't take it from me. As a generation, we have a responsibility to improve on the past, and we're not going to accomplish that by doing things the same way that they've always been done. So let's take Gandhi's advice and defy convention. You know, I was a little bit sad coming up to today because it felt to me like a goodbye. And in a way it is, but it also isn't. You are sitting among the future doctors, lawyers, and garbage collectors of this generation. You're sitting next to people who will have jobs that don't even exist yet. Unconventional jobs that we will create by breaking the rules and making new ones. It's been an honor to go through high school with all of you, and I can't wait to see not only what the future will make of us, but also what we will make of it. I wish you all the clarity of mind to see your paths in life, and the courage to pursue them regardless of circumstance. And I hope you all leave footprints.